Welcome back to another episode of the Unbroken Athletic Podcast. Here at Unbroken Athletic, we are committed to coaching beyond fitness. And part of that coaching beyond fitness starts with mindset. So in these podcasts, we discuss things that you can do in your life today that can help you on your way to being successful in the gym, in your life, and in your business.
Is this one live?
Yep, we're live. Check. Here we go. Ready?
Should be ready.
All right. Welcome back to the Unbroken Athletic Podcast. We are here with two special guests. Super excited to talk about our topic today. We're here with Stacy and Bill Russell. So if you guys could please maybe just introduce yourself, share your story with us, your family life, what you do for a living, all that kind of stuff.
All right.
Whatever you want to share. You don't have to share all of it.
In 30 seconds. Thanks. Welcome. Or thank you for having us. We're glad to be on your podcast. Stacy and I run CrossFit Cleveland in Rocky River. We've been doing that for almost 12 years now. We started that somewhat like you guys, kind of a hobby in the beginning. And it started to grow and it took off. And we decided to make that a full-time venture for us. So, and just recently we've been into CBD products, adding value to our members. Yeah. And that's the main topic we're discussing today.
Right. Yeah. You guys are one of the first CrossFit gyms in the Cleveland area, weren't you?
Correct.
Were you the first one?
We were.
That's what I thought.
With a license. The downtown gym was like a week or two after us, so it's technically the same.
Yeah.
And then Brian Yoke at CrossFit Legacy down in Stowe came on, I believe, the month after. He was at our very first workout.
Yeah.
Or one of the early ones.
That's so cool.
Yeah. Back in, and Nick was about a year later.
Yeah.
Toby was early on too, down in
SPC.
He was very early, He was 2007 as well, later in the year.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah. Quite different than it is today.
Right. Yeah. Even since we've been on board since 2011, in CrossFit in the industry, it's so different now.
It's changed a lot.
Yeah. We try to keep the old school.
So
the fees. Okay, cool. So we're going to talk about CBD oil today. I think the reason we wanted to bring you guys on is number one. Well, Stacy, you reached out to me and I was like, yes, I'm so interested because I saw a lot of value being added from, all different places, but then there was so much stuff like out on the internet and people talking, and I was like, I don't know anything about this, and you guys had teamed up with a really good company, and so just from the educational standpoint, I wanted to create, we wanted to bring you guys on and talk about what is CBD oil, and kind of share our stories about what we're doing with it, how it can benefit people, and then kind of maybe like debunk some of the things that are like going around so that people feel, safe using it.
Right.
So what interested you first in CBD oil?
Well, I started taking it.
I'm going to defer to Bill.
Yeah. When we got into it, it was not ever our intention we weren't looking for a product to sell in our gym. I was introduced to it by a longtime member who had moved to Colorado, or not moved, he bought a place, so he lives there like half the time.
Oh, yeah.
And got into the medical marijuana, or the marijuana. No, not in that. He was just taking it as a person for his quote medical conditions. We shared a common injury. We both had shoulder injuries, and so one day he was back in Cleveland, and he just popped into the gym one day, and he started talking to me just to say hi. I hadn't seen him in a couple of years, and he introduced me to the CBD cream, and he said it had been working wonders. I had never heard of it.
Yeah.
And he said, this is like magic, and he gave me a tube. And I said, well, I'll try it. And it was amazing how quickly I felt the pain relief.
That's amazing.
And what I think most people are surprised at is when they take any version of CBD, if it's going to work for them, it works right away. It's not like a supplement that you need to take for 3 or 4 weeks or 4 months to get it into your system.
Yeah.
You'll know within a day or two a proper dosing if it works.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And so I started using it just for my own sake, and then I because we're business people, I figured I could get a discount by contacting that company and set up a wholesale account. I really had no intention of selling it to anyone else because I knew there were a lot of, people were afraid of anything in the marijuana world, or cannabis world.
Right.
And so I just started buying it on a wholesale account for myself. And then one at a time, I'd introduce it to our members that had an elbow pain or something. And they all of a sudden started buying it, saying this stuff is terrific.
Right.
So that was about 2 years ago. So we were in pretty early in usage, but it was all based on my own experience.
Yeah, so that kind of covers your personal testimony then. How about you, Stacey? You have personal testimony.
I personally didn't think I had issues till I started taking it. And apparently I'm a little bit anxious and it helps me sleep better.
I'm not touching that one.
And it helps me focus. It took me about a week to realize that I was just more relaxed in the moment of what we were doing and not thinking about, gosh, do I have the schedule done and what's going to happen on Monday? And I was just really relaxed and enjoying our time together. Yeah. And that was my first aha moment. But I don't have chronic pain or things like that, but it definitely helps me sleep. So it took a week of me being on it to realize that I'm a little anxious at times, and that it definitely helps with those things.
Yeah.
And I use some of their other products, and that's helping with things again that I don't really have issues with, but it's making my life better.
Yeah. You want to share your testimony, Jeremy, about it? Because you've been using it now for a while.
Yeah, I use it more for performance kind of focus. I don't have trouble sleeping at night. I'm pretty sure I can sleep right now. But yeah, that and road rage, it worked really well on my road rage. But as far as for performance usage, I usually take it about a half hour to 45 minutes before I do like any kind of Metcon or workout.
Great.
And it just slows things down in my head, so I'm not over analyzing the workout. And so I can just focus on one rep at a time, and not really thinking about anything else other than just the workout. And that's what I use it for, mostly.
Good.
You find that it helps with your recovery?
Yes. So I started using some of the cream, especially for my knee. Getting older, everything starts to fall apart, I guess. I don't know what's going on. Doesn't make any sense. Why do I spend all this time working out? But no, yeah, using the cream, especially for the knee, and that has worked a lot better than just throwing Tylenol at the situation.
Sure.
Yeah, and not having to take Tylenol every day.
Yes.
Or whatever. Because I mean, that's not a pain management plan.
No,
that you want to do. No. Yeah, I think for me too, the biggest thing that I've noticed is being able to sleep. Not that I take a while to like wind down and go to sleep, but I would always be up. It wasn't like deep sleeping. So I found that by taking this, I'll go to sleep and I'll wake up and it's the next morning. And I'm not getting up like 3. Yeah, and I feel like I actually slept. I just got an Apple Watch, so I think I'm going to track my sleep to make sure that it's actually working. But I can just tell, how I feel. So
what I noticed a lot with sleeping, I'm a pretty good sleeper myself, but I was always in love with the snooze alarm. I could hit the snooze for an hour. I mean, if I ever met that Jocko Willink guy, he'd probably call me the biggest sissy in the world because I didn't jump out of bed. I really enjoyed snoozing. Yeah. And now, when I wake up, I'm just up. And I didn't realize that until I had another one of our clients tell me that that's what he felt. And I thought, you know what, that's funny you mentioned that. I didn't even realize that I was popping out of bed.
Yeah.
And not hitting the snooze as much.
Right. Because you're done sleeping.
Yeah, your body's recovered and you're ready to go.
Yeah.
I track my sleep. It's very interesting.
Is it to see the REM cycles? Yeah. Yes. I'm sure it would. I can tell the difference, so
yeah.
I would think that it would be. All right, so let's dive into kind of like the misinformation going around on the internet and share how this is legal and why you don't get high. Because I think those are the two biggest things. Like, is this stuff legal and am I going to get high? Right? Because that's they're like, yes, oh, you're taking drugs every day?
Yes.
So
I, in a nutshell, I'll keep it not too technical, but there are two ways to get CBD. CBD is a cannabinoid, and there are cannabinoids in the cannabis plants, and that can be marijuana or it can be industrial hemp.
Okay.
And CBD is one of the cannabinoids. There are over 100. THC and CBD are the most common.
Okay.
But there are a bunch, they're all I think they're all 3-letter deals, but there are a lot. But CBD and THC are the two that have the medicinal properties. And the reason they say they have medicinal properties is we actually have receptors in our brain and our body that pick them up. So it's not just simply a supplement. It's considered medicine. So THC is the one that gets you high. That's the one in the marijuana.
Okay.
So in a marijuana, you have a higher percentage of THC, and there's a little bit of CBD in some of the strains. Some don't have any. In the industrial hemp plant, it's flipped. The industrial hemp has a lot of CBD and very, very little THC.
Okay.
And so
And we're talking about
the industrial hemp
Okay.
extract. And so when the cannabinoids are extracted, as long as the THC content in that product, the end result is less than 0.3%, which is really little,
Yeah.
it's legal to have.
and you will not get high.
And you will not get high. It's just not enough.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that, but.
And so up until just a few weeks ago, it was a gray area about is it really legal or was it really legal, because
Right.
there was a Farm Act of 2014 that spoke to hemp, but nobody read the fine print, and it really was only legal if you were doing a research study, and there were it was a very tight little window, but nobody paid attention to it, they just did it.
Yeah.
The Farm Bill of 2018 that was just signed into law specifically states industrial hemp is legal, and that CBD derived from industrial hemp is no longer on the DEA's list of controlled substances, because that it was before. So it was on the list, but they didn't enforce it. It was kind of gray area. Was it legal? I don't know. So nobody really. It was a free for all.
Right.
But now it's finally legal.
good.
And the big thing I think is because there are millions of people are getting benefit from
Right.
something that is natural. It's not controlled by big pharmaceutical companies.
Exactly.
And so I think you're gonna see it explode even more than
It's
it has.
exploding.
And with that, it's kind of like the Wild Wild West. Everybody's jumping in.
Yeah.
And so there are a lot of, I don't want to say just a lot of variety in quality, and
Yeah.
everybody's trying to stake their claim.
Right.
And so it confuses people. It's also approaching it's like snake oil. Everybody hears about it. They think it sounds so good, it can't be true.
Right.
And from my experience, our experience, it is something that is as good as you're hearing, and you guys are using it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't work for everybody.
Right.
But understanding the quality of where you're getting it from is also big, because everybody's in on it. You know, if you read a label and you don't know what you're talking about,
Yeah.
you're going to say, oh gosh, well, this has CBD in it and there's no THC and it says that it's full spectrum, and it's so confusing. So reading your labels is really important. That's part of what we do,
Right.
for you too, is to educate you on how do you read a label and how do people read a label. We've had clients come in and say, well, this is $15.95 and it says this is the same amount as yours, and when you sit down and you understand the label, you would have to drink that whole bottle or use that whole bottle for one dropper of our quality product.
Right.
Yeah.
So-
and labels are very confusing. We break it down very simply to get to your cost per dose or your cost per milligram of actual CBD, not just, there's a lot of other things they can put in those
Right.
bottles. So you do the simple math, but a lot of the labels are confusing, and that you can't really tell how many milligrams of CBD are in each serving and how big the dropper, they don't want you to be able to calculate. And that's the first sign. If you can't look at the label and determine exactly how many milligrams of CBD you'll get in each serving size, and then divide that up and figure out how many cents per milligram. The product we deal with is the larger dose density. It's 6 cents per milligram. Most of what you'll find on the shelves at Lucky's or at any of the health food stores are closer to 20 to 25 cents per milligram. And the emails that you get have all these special offers. I've seen it as high as 50 cents a milligram.
Yeah.
But they're labeled, but everything looks fantastic in their advertisement.
Yeah.
It's very difficult for the consumer to know. So that's
Yeah.
our job, is to help our gym owners understand so they can explain to their clients.
Right. And I think, I mean, because it is so new that people don't understand how to read the labels. I wouldn't know how to. I just trusted
Right.
you. So I was like, yeah, I trust you. You tell me what to do and I get it. So when you're looking at, because I think you can get on Amazon and stuff too, right? All different companies from everywhere.
Yeah.
And so how did you guys choose Clean Remedies? That's the company and the brand that we carry too. And so how did you guys choose them, and maybe talk about other ways that you can pick good companies, you know?
Well, I know we chose Clean Remedies. They're local to us, and we happen to know them.
Yeah.
Their story is that they started Clean Remedies out of a tragedy for somebody who was taking antidepressants, pharmaceutical antidepressants, and committed suicide. And so they were determined to find a way for that's not really a healthy thing. The medications are not healthy, and so that's how they started. And so they believe in helping people. And that's our industry as well, is I just want to see everybody be better.
Yeah.
And off of medications and eating real food. And so that was why we started with them.
I had been taking the products from Mary's out of Colorado, and they had a CBD oil, of course, and my rep recommended it to me. She said, "This is our biggest seller, you should try the oil." And I thought, all right, I'll do this. This is well over a year ago. And it was very expensive at the time, and I got it and did not know how much to take. And so because the bottle was $150 for this little bitty bottle, and I just took I was taking a couple drops a day. And I was taking about the same amount of CBD dose-wise that I would put on my shoulder. I was taking that amount through the dropper, figuring, well, that's a good place to start.
Yeah.
Well, you need to take a whole lot more when you're doing it systemically. And so it didn't work for me. I would take it and I would wait, and I could see, I couldn't feel any difference. Mm-hmm. And so I didn't get any benefit from it, so I wouldn't recommend it. We sold zero from Mary's, and it wasn't the product quality, it was just that I didn't know how much to take.
Right.
I kept with the cream because I knew it worked. Mm-hmm. When we first met with Meredith and Darren, it was the first meeting. We've known her family for over 20 years, so we trust them.
Yeah.
First time we met on this subject, within 60 seconds of me explaining why I was not really all that excited about the oil, is she laughed. She actually laughed and said, "Dude, you're not taking enough." And she could do that because we knew each other. And she basically told me I was kind of an idiot for taking a little drop thinking that was going to do any good. So she started to educate, and because I had a background and understood enough, more than probably anybody else she had talked to as a potential client, she was able to share with me their story and their quality. And of course I'm skeptical, we all are.
Yeah.
And so I started looking into it and realized that they truly do focus on having the best quality attributes of their product, but they still have the lowest per dose or per milligram cost that I found out of any of the reputable companies. And the only other two I knew, Charlotte's Web is very well known, Mary's had their product, and those were really the only two visible products at the time that I could compare them to.
Yeah.
Now they're
But understanding and getting the education and finding people that are willing to help you, classes will help.
And they're
Go ahead.
no, I spit out the last piece.
Go ahead.
When you look at their bottle and their label, there's just CBD and safflower oil. They have no ingredients, they have no artificial sweeteners, there's no other junk. And that's a sign that if you see artificial sweeteners or any other unknown elements that's probably trying to mask the bad taste of an earthy or yuck, or not so good product. The Clean Remedies, we've had people try it and say, wow, this tastes like nothing. I mean, there's no negative.
I actually have a picture of 2 droppers, 2 different products, Clean Remedies, and another product. And to be honest, I don't know the name of the other product. And one is like a Clean Remedies is clear, it looks like oil, and the other is a dark, I don't even know, like coffee-ish looking oil tincture. And like, ooh, which one do you want to take?
Yeah, right.
So.
Yeah, I have nothing else to compare it to because I've never tried anything else. So, but I know, I mean,
You're taking the
it
best.
doesn't have. Yeah, that's why it worked.
So what you're going to start to see now, and we've already seen it, is just the other night on the news they talked about a company out of Colorado that's putting CBD, or actually it's THC in beer.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh.
So you'll start
Beer,
to see CBD.
coffee.
Infused
You'll start
other
to,
products.
but you'll start to see CBD in everything.
Yeah.
And I think that then causes people to be more skeptical and think, well, what? But we stick with just the oil. It works well for us, and we else.
There's also a CBD isolate, which is strictly CBD.
Right,
There's no THC, so you're not getting all of the properties of a full spectrum. You're getting strict CBD, and the serving size is incredibly small, but it's certainly potent.
And the benefit there, or the reason people would take that, is if you're subject to a random drug test by your employer, even though the THC level in CBD oil is very, very small, if you take a decent amount of the oil on a regular basis, the THC will build up. And this, what we tell our clients is, if your livelihood would be negatively affected by a drug test, do not take the oil, because it's probably going to show something. And until employers get wind of, all right, CBD oil or CBD products are valuable for our employees, and if there is a little bit of THC, that doesn't mean it's necessarily bad. But right now, you can't take the risk.
Right.
So there's, Stacy mentioned the CBD isolate, which is pure CBD. There is 0 THC. That is safe, but that comes along with a warning that there's no one in this industry that's policing anything. So if the 4 of us decided to make a CBD product and say, and I'll cover the brand, but it says 0 THC.
Yeah.
Here. There's no one who's testing this and saying, well, maybe there is that little bit.
Right.
You want to buy a product that is third-party tested.
Okay.
That's important, to find a product that is third-party tested.
So with Clean Remedies, and Charlotte's Web is the same, you can get an independent lab test by the batch. And you can see that is it really 0.000 or is it a little bit?
Right.
And so this bottle here, I could certainly see that a person would say, oh, good, 0 THC, I'll take it and I don't worry about my drug test. And then after a couple months, if they get the drug test and they pop, what are they gonna do?
Yeah.
I mean, what are they gonna sue these people for saying there's no,
Right.
it's a risk, because again, there's no one policing the industry.
Because it's not a food or a drug, right? So it's kind of like the in between.
It's gray area.
Well, it's I mean, it's not classified as a food.
Yeah, you know what, I don't wanna say the wrong answer, although I'll state though, there's no one policing it.
Right? So
At
you
this
get
point.
So you want to buy a product that's third-party tested, so that you know that somebody is, Clean Remedies is saying, look, don't believe me, believe this person, because they're testing my product, and they don't, it doesn't matter to them.
Right, because they're just doing the lab report.
Right.
Yeah, well, that's like with Avocare too. They run it through a third party.
So there are
Same with
companies that are
supplements.
honest, and they're trying to put out the best product they can, and so that's what we identified with one, and that's why we're sticking with them.
Yeah, very good. Okay, cool. So we already touched on this a little bit, but the biggest benefits that you see for athletes.
So the recovery, so taking it before a workout will help with your recovery. You're not as sore for the athletes. you're getting your sleep, so your body is healing, because you need sleep. If you're putting things on a layer, people ignore the sleep, and it is a big component. So now you're sleeping. I hear people tell me they're dreaming, I'm having weird dreams. It's like, well, yeah, you're dreaming. That means you're sleeping. That's a good thing.
You hit to REM
Right,
sleep.
right.
That's good.
So the recovery for the athletes and their inflammation, their body, we all have inflammation, so their bodies are less inflamed because you're healing from the inside.
Yeah.
I mean, you're even seeing high-level CrossFit athletes posted on their Instagram stories about how they've taken CBD products for recovery.
Right.
So I mean, it's it's not snake oil, right?
No. And it's natural, so why wouldn't you want to put something natural in your system rather than all the other chemicals?
So for anybody listening that wants to look into a little bit more of the science or why the body reacts to it, there's something in our systems called the endocannabinoid system. And you could even spell that wrong in Google and it's going to come up. You'll find it. And that will talk about part of a system in our body that we create our own cannabinoids. So when we're giving external to our body, there's something there that uses them.
We're feeding it.
And that's only been discovered, and don't shoot me here if I'm wrong, but I think that it's been within the last 12 or 15 years.
Yeah.
So our doctors that we go to, if they're had been a doctor for a while, when they were in med school, there was never even a consideration of this, so they wouldn't know about it.
Right.
And then when they discovered it, I'm sure it sounded a little bit hokey, and so nobody really in the medical world pays attention to it until they're positive. I mean, there's science-based medicine, and we appreciate that. But it's very, very new in its discovery.
Yeah. It's cool to be on the, on the forefront of it also.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think so. Anyway, just be like, well, this is working. I mean, there's not all of us that are making it up and saying like, oh, this is working. We're actually having benefits.
Correct.
I'm totally against taking drugs if there's another way. Like
Sure.
if there's any other way. I think there's a place and time for modern medicine and all that. I mean, we're so grateful that the doctors can stitch us up and save us and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But on the permitted, like on the our part where we're taking care of ourselves, that that preventative, thank you, I couldn't think of the word, that preventative health care kind of falls on the consumer and the person, and that's what we do in CrossFit, that's what we're always looking, like food, exercise, water, sleep, stress, recover, like all those things we're looking at first before we go seek medical help. And so I think that this is something that is going to be huge in that area over the next decade, where as we learn more about it and people are using it, it's going to be pretty awesome. So
Yeah, have you ever heard Greg Glassman talk about CrossFit coaches and talking about the lifeguard and the swim coach?
Oh
concept?
no, I haven't heard that.
I mean, he's genius, and it makes it so clear that he talks about doctors are lifeguards. Mm-hmm. Look, when you're dying or your arm is cut open or you're bleeding, you need a doctor.
Right.
You need a lifeguard. You need them to save you.
Yeah.
But day in and day out, like you talked about, this self-care, you don't go to a doctor. The doctor is not there to tell you all of the little things to do. They're there to save you when you need them.
Exactly.
As CrossFit coaches, he talks about us as swim coaches.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to, on a day in out basis, we're going to teach you what to do and what to not do so that you can be healthier.
Right.
But if there's a traumatic situation, I'm not your answer. You need a doctor.
Yeah, that's right.
And
That's
so
really
CBD fits into that self-care so well.
Yeah, that's a really good analogy.
In addition to just the recovery, I mean, there's so many people who are seeing other benefits, whether it's their acne or their stomach issues.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the list is just huge on all the different things that it's possible that it could help each person with.
I think too, anxiety is a huge issue right now in our society.
Yes.
We're always connected, we're always,
Right.
busy, running.
Right.
Even with kids, they're seeing skyrocket in anxiety. So is there a age limit?
So I
throwing
think,
questions at you now.
yeah, that's okay. So what I would tell people is it's very individualized. Nobody's going to say you should or you shouldn't. I do know people who have used it on their children. I can't give you the scientifics of it, but when you get a concussion and helping in the recovery of the concussion. So you have kids playing football or falling or whatever, so it will help with that. But it's individualized. I would say talk to your doctor about it.
Yeah.
I do know that it helps, but as a parent, if you're saying no, then the answer is
Yeah.
no. But personally, I would rather my child use CBD, a good, clean, quality CBD, than be on any number of the medications that they're giving them for their ADD and to help them study and relax and focus.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can do something naturally for them, I would.
Yeah.
But again, that's,
Yeah, that, I just was wondering if the company had put out,
I don't know that- I
recommended
don't-
guidelines or anything.
I don't know that there is a particular one. I just happen to know people who are willing to
try
try
it.
it with their children. I can give you a story of somebody I know that that was the only thing they changed in their child, who the parent would get called often from the school and like, oh no, what did my kid do? And then at the end of the year that year, the school said like, hey, I don't know what's going on, but you know, your child's doing really, really well. Well, that child was using CBD and not the pharmaceutical medications that they were telling them that they needed.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's
So-
awesome though.
Yeah,
Okay. I bet it's a lot cheaper also,
I would think over.
you know, versus
For dosing,
versus medication.
Sure.
Okay. Anything else you want to add that we missed that you think people could benefit from hearing if they're like thinking about trying it, or
Contact you and you're gonna get them hooked up.
And I'm gonna call you.
With the good vibe. We are gonna be doing more education.
Yeah.
And so we'll be announcing it, and obviously we'll be telling people, but get educated. Just like anything, get educated, and just don't believe that because it's $15.95 and it's less per dose. And I see it all the time. People come in and say, well, so get educated would be my.
and what it, yeah.
So I think that if you hear somebody tell you that they tried CBD and it didn't work, I wouldn't necessarily take that as the reason for you not to try it yourself, because there's a very good chance that that person made the same mistake I did. They didn't take enough,
Yeah.
or they bought a product that wasn't good.
Yeah.
Where they thought that it was gonna be a miracle, and
Yes.
it's not a miracle. It doesn't work for everybody.
Right.
So it's just because somebody says it doesn't work, you know, we've heard that before.
Yeah.
You wanna check those, if there's any questions on there or no?
Yeah, I can see if there's any other questions. If there's any questions on here before we close it out.
Are we live?
Mm-hmm.
I love your setup here.
Yeah.
Someone's. You know, if you guys have any questions, you can write it, and I'll tag you guys. I just tuned in. I don't know what CBD oil is. Oh, you'll have to go back, Jennifer. You'll have to listen to the beginning part. You'll hear it. We'll post a replay. Okay. Well, we always end with this one question, this is kind of our saying here is coaching that goes beyond fitness. So, what does that mean to you? We're always digging into that and trying to figure out what that means
To different people.
to different people.
I'm sorry, coaching,
Coaching
Coaching
beyond
beyond
fitness.
I think just living a simple, clean life, you know, just, for me, that's calm, which is much better now, but helping others be better at themselves, not necessarily in the gym, but just being better, and can you play with your grandchildren, and
Yeah.
Good. You know, that fitness is such an overused word, and when you hear it, everybody has their own notion of what that means. But if you think about, the way I think about it is, it's our physical capacity and our mental capacity. You know, what can we do? Can we do more than we did before? Or keep up with doing what we did when we were younger? And so the exercise component is just a small part of it. You know, I think we focus more in our lives on the nutrition and helping people. We don't write nutrition plans. We're not dietitians or nutritionists. We just simply help people look at what they do and realize that if they did a little bit less of this, they're probably gonna feel a little bit better. And so we just look at overall quality of life. And as you get older, as you mentioned, Jeremy, and I'm older than you, things start to break, and I'm in the middle of that. But you know what? I think that nutrition and sleep are the two things we focus on more than exercise.
Right.
coach.
And that all just pulls that whole being, that old buzzword or the buzz term these days, being the best you can be,
Yeah.
and anything like that is what we focus on.
Yeah, we're a sucker for that. Well, cool. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having
Yeah,
us.
thank you
you.
for taking time out of your day. I know you guys are busy business owners like us, but we appreciate it, and we appreciate you, reaching out to us and sharing this with us, because it's helping us and it's helping a lot of our clients too. And
Good. That's what
So-
we're happy to hear.
Okay, if I give a link,
yeah, we'll send you a link, or you can send us a link, and then we can post it underneath here.
because we have an information page on our website and a brief video that if you
Yeah.
want some basic information, we have it there.
Oh yeah, that would be perfect. So
Good.
we'll do that on these live videos too. The one on
We'll link the
Facebook,
comments.
not the one on Instagram. But hey guys, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
The ones on Facebook, we'll post the link to the info page, and then we have it retail. They have it retail at both of your gyms, right?
Yes.
So
And we're part of the Clean Remedies sales team, and our job is to help other CrossFit gym owners
yeah,
learn
If
the
anybody's
value,
interested
and
in
we get them established with a wholesale account
Yeah.
directly with Clean Remedies. It's not
Right.
an MLM, it's not any
right.
goofy arrangement, and we help them sell
Yeah.
and educate their clients
Right.
so that they can
so we can be
deliver.
a better world.
be a better
That's
world.
right. Yeah, so if you guys are listening and you own a gym or have, any
Any
store
health
front-
related
any kind of store, health related, then you're
related studio.
interested, just send us a message and we can make sure that we get you guys hooked up.
Great,
But
thank you.
Thank you
Thanks
guys
for
so
having
much.
us.
All right.
Yes.
All right, bye-bye guys.
Thanks again for tuning in to another episode of the Unbroken Athletic Podcast. If you enjoyed what you heard today, please give us a shout out on your social media by sharing, and also give us a rating and drop us a comment. Let us know how we're doing. We love to see your comments. And again, if you're ever in the Olmsted Falls area, feel free to stop on by and check us out.